South Africa will celebrate Women's Day this coming Friday. A recent survey has found that 9 in 10 young people consider Women's Day of great importance to highlight the issues and challenges facing women in South Africa. Earlier today, I spoke to Shirley Wakefield from Pondering Panda, the company that conducted the survey. I first asked her about the survey's key findings about Women's Day.
What we've seen is that when we asked young people in South Africa around questions on whether or not they felt that Women's Day was still important to celebrate and to invest in, and the answer was absolutely yes. 9 out of 10 young South Africans agreed with this. And when we asked them whether or not they felt that we had made progress when it comes to equality and women's rights, and whether or not things were getting better or worse or staying the same for women in South Africa, the majority of young South Africans that we spoke to between the ages of 15 and 34 said yes, things are getting better for women in the country.
But Shirley,
1 in 3 did say...
Go ahead. But Shirley, the question...
1 in 3 did, however, say that things were staying the same or getting worse. So there's still room for improvement on the topic of Women's Day.
In your analysis, what did you understand to be young people's understanding of a better quality of life? How do young people measure quality of life?
We simply asked, do you think things are getting better for South African women, worse, or staying the same? So it was really a simple scale for now. It's something that we would delve into in more detail at a later stage. But for now, young people do think that things are improving.
Did you find that the findings were relevant across the colour groups?
There were significant differences across colour groups. Young black South Africans were more likely to say that they felt that things were improving for women in the country when compared to coloured and white South Africans. However, what was interesting was that we didn't see any significant differences when it came to gender, which is a promising sign suggesting that young men and women both feel that things are getting better for women across the country.
Of course, I'm sure there was also maybe some geographical differentiators. Now, if I'm a young woman in South Africa now, statistically, where should I be locating to make sure that I have a better chance of improving my quality of life?
Well, young people across the country in Mpumalanga, Northern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal all feel that chances are looking good for women in those provinces. When it came to the Eastern Cape and Western Cape, the results were slightly lower, but all of them had a positive slant.
So if we look at both the results of both young men and young women, did you find that there was a clear understanding of the historical roots that inform the current celebrations of Women's Day, or young people just celebrating the aspect of just being women?
Well, we were interested to see that over 80% of young South Africans claimed to know what the origin of Women's Day was. We then shared what the origin was, and we did see that 81% knew where the roots for Women's Day lay.
Did that understanding translate into the activities that young people will partake in when they celebrate Women's Day? What do young people do on Women's Day?
Well, that's a good question. We're not quite sure what they do, but again, around 81% came back saying that they were planning on doing something for or something with the women in their lives to celebrate Women's Day.
So Shirley, it is indeed a good time to be a woman in South Africa today?
Quite right.
So one of the key things that we've picked up, obviously, is that the government has made significant strides in empowering women, but we don't necessarily see this translate into the private sector space and in the lives of ordinary women. Did any of these nuances come out in that survey?
We didn't focus on those nuances for this survey, but what we can see is that you know, people are in agreement that things are getting better. It doesn't seem to say, though, that there aren't still challenges ahead of us. The balance of the home and work life still remains a big challenge for South African women and women across the globe, and it's something that young South Africans did highlight.
CNBC will be having a day-long special broadcast tomorrow to highlight the